This is home. Twin States News starts right now.
Good evening. I'm Anna Manuel. Thanks for joining us. Deer hunting season is in full swing in Mississippi. Today, Twin States News' Jacobus Roby set out to learn how the meat is processed locally.
The holiday season is not the only season keeping people busy. According to Collinsville's Meat LLC owner, Neil McKeithen, deer season has kept them busy as well.
Bow season was a little bit slow, but then it picked up, and then when gun season started with the kids out of school for Thanksgiving and all, it really picked up.
McKeithen talked about the process of packaging the deer, as the company has handled over 300 deer this season.
We have a place to skin them. We can start out from the beginning and skin them and then cut them up, and then we process them.
Making various meats such as burgers, sausage, or steaks. The company says the price depends on the customer.
It depends on if you get burger, it's like $2.50 a pound, sausage $3.50 to $4 a pound.
Ernie White of Little Rock, Mississippi, says he loves deer meat, but expressed that hunting is no longer for him.
I used to hunt if there was season open. I hunted all the time, but now after I got on up in age, it don't appeal to me near as much as it used to.
Collinsville Meat says that they are proud to have helped bad and processed deer for hunters this deer season. In Collinsville, Jacobus Roby, Twin States News.
Severe weather will be moving in this weekend. Let's check in with meteorologist Sam Ryan for a first check of the forecast. Hi, Sam.
Thanks, Ann. And folks, we have severe storms possible out ahead of a cold front that's going to sweep west to east across the area throughout our day Saturday. Now, all modes of severe weather are possible, already being highlighted by the Storm Prediction Center. We'll break this down, get a look at the week ahead, and see what you can expect with your full forecast coming up. Ann?
A Christmas tree in Jackson has been dedicated to the families of crime victims. During a ceremony, families of crime victims got to hang an ornament in their honor. The family of MDOC Warden Faye Ann Knoll was among those in attendance. Knoll served 25 years with MDOC and was shot and killed at a family gathering in 2014. Her nephew is serving life in prison for the crime. The head football coach for Meridian High School has resigned. The resignation came during a special meeting of the Meridian Public School District Board today. The board says their search for Marcus Boyle's replacement has started immediately. The hope is to have a new head coach in place by the spring. The president's son, Hunter Biden, was indicted yesterday on 9 tax charges in a case with the potential to coincide with the president's re-election campaign. Madeline Rivera has the latest.
Hunter Biden's legal woes are escalating to new heights after a federal grand jury charged him with 3 felony tax offenses and 6 misdemeanor tax offenses Thursday. Special counsel David Weiss's team accuses the president's son of engaging in a 4-year scheme to avoid paying $1.4 million in federal taxes from 2016 through 2019.
I think we're just hitting the tip of the iceberg here. I don't think we've gotten to the bottom yet.
According to a 56-page indictment, instead of paying his taxes, Hunter spent his money on drugs, escorts and girlfriends, luxury hotels and rental properties, exotic cars, clothing, and other items of a personal nature. In short, everything but his taxes between 2016 and October 15, 2020. Hunter's legal team is casting the new charges as part of a politically motivated move, saying in part, if Hunter's last name was anything other than Biden, the charges in Delaware and now California would not have been brought.
I think that he is, being not targeted but treated perhaps a little differently because of who he is.
The new charges come as House Republicans ramp up their efforts to investigate President Biden's family business dealings. On Tuesday, the House Rules Committee is expected to formalize an impeachment inquiry into the president, which would enable subpoena enforcement.
I think the members of the majority party realize that the American people overwhelmingly want to know what's going on here.
The White House is slamming the vote as a baseless stunt, adding the only reason Republicans are having it is to, quote, put a GOP win on the table for the base.
If convicted, Hunter Biden faces a maximum of 17 years in prison. In Washington, Madeline Rivera, Fox News.
Israel's campaign intensifying in the Gaza Strip as the United Nations warns of the rapidly deteriorating circumstances for civilians there. Senior Foreign Affairs correspondent Greg Palcott has more.
As the Israel-Hamas war enters its 3rd month, the Israelis are intensifying their campaign in the Gaza Strip. The IDF saying Friday it has struck more than 400 targets by air, ground, and sea over the last 24 hours. The military making extensive arrests in Gaza this week in an effort to rout out Palestinian militants in Hamas strongholds. A spokesperson saying the military-aged civilians were found in areas that should have been evacuated weeks ago.
Israeli forces continue to expose Hamas's crimes against humanity.
The U.S. remaining concerned over the growing devastation in the area, urging Israel to limit civilian deaths and displacement. U.S. Secretary of State Antony Blinken telling the Israeli Minister of Strategic Affairs that casualties are still too high and that they must do more to allow humanitarian aid to reach the citizens of Gaza.
We do not support a move to the south unless or until they have adequately accounted for the protection of innocent human life, civilian life, in southern Gaza.
This as the United Nations warns that its aid operation in the region is falling apart with no safe haven remaining. Earlier this week, UN Secretary General Antonio Guterres warning of an impending human catastrophe.
The Secretary General urges the members of the Security Council to press to avert a humanitarian catastrophe, and he appeals for a humanitarian ceasefire to be declared.
Nearly 2 million in Gaza have been forced to flee during the last 2 months of fighting. In Sderot, Israel, Greg Palkot, Fox News.
The presidents of top universities are attempting to backtrack now after facing major backlash for failing to condemn calls for genocide of Jews on their campuses. Molly Line has the latest from Cambridge.
With anti-Semitism reaching a fever pitch on college campuses across America, presidents from some of the country's top universities are facing major backlash after dodging questions during a congressional hearing on the topic.
So the answer is yes, that calling for the genocide of Jews violates Harvard Code of Conduct, correct?
Again, it depends on the context.
It does not depend on the context.
The presidents of Harvard, MIT, and UPenn all failing to flatly say calls for the genocide of Jews on their campuses are against the rules. Now some are attempting to clarify their answers. UPenn President Elizabeth McGill backtracking.
The call for genocide of Jewish people is a call for some of the most terrible violence human beings can perpetrate.
Meanwhile, Pennsylvania Governor Josh Shapiro says the UPenn board now has a very serious decision to make regarding McGill.
It should not be hard to condemn genocide.
And Harvard President Claudine Gay also releasing a statement saying, "Let me be clear, calls for violence or genocide against the Jewish community or any religious or ethnic group are vile. They have no place at Harvard, and those who threaten our Jewish students will be held to account." But some say these statements after the fact are too little, too late.
We expected to see moral clarity, but we got moral depravity from all of these presidents.
The White House also condemning the testimonies this week. A spokesperson writing, "It's unbelievable that this needs to be said. Calls for genocide are monstrous and antithetical to everything we represent as a country." In Cambridge, Massachusetts, Molly Line, Fox News.
As Alabama celebrates Hanukkah, there are security measures in place to ensure people can enjoy the holiday safely. Emma Owen reports.
Great people are looking after us, and we don't have to be worried.
Levi Weinbaum, a rabbi with Chabad of Alabama, says throughout the many Hanukkah celebrations, safety is a top priority.
From the Sheriff Department of Jefferson County all the way to the individual cities that we are going to be in, each one has really provided top security for each event.
These precautions come as the U.S. sees a rise in anti-Semitism. According to the Anti-Defamation League, anti-Semitic incidents in the U.S. climbed significantly this October compared to last. This follows October's attack of Israeli citizens by Hamas. Weinbaum says now it's especially important for Jewish people to comfortably and publicly celebrate Hanukkah.
There's a lot of places in the world that can't do this. And we are really happy to live in Birmingham, Alabama, at UAB at this present moment, and being able to do this publicly and in such a joyful way.
Among those attending UAB's menorah lighting, Ben Honan, president of the Jewish Medical Student Association. He says this event not only serves as a celebration, but a learning opportunity as well.
It's really reassuring to see, people interested in our culture just as we're interested in others too. Kind of that interchange and willingness to see things from someone else's perspective.
Event organizers hoping to share culture and shine a light.
Let's bring light to one other person, no matter who you are, wherever you are. Let's take away the darkness by bringing light.
QR codes used to see a menu or to pay for parking might not be as safe as you think. The Federal Trade Commission is warning that hackers may replace the original QR code with their own to steal your information. The agency says hackers can use QR codes to gain access to bank accounts, credit cards, or tax information to get a refund. The FTC says after using the code, people should inspect the URL for spelling errors or to make sure the site isn't spoofed. The agency adds consumers should not scan a QR code from a message they're not expecting and to use strong passwords to keep your account safe. Still ahead, we'll break down your weekend forecast. Plus,
caffeine lovers, listen up. Your energizing drink could be doing more than just keeping you awake. I'm Jackie Ibanez with a look at how much caffeine is too much. That's all straight ahead.